Over the last few years, streamers have become the marketing method. If you have a product or a crypto coin you want to push, go to a streamer. Where we really seen this was the music industry, specifically rap. Rappers around 2021 discovered that streaming is the quickest and easiest way to get your name back in the headlines. So when rappers had an album coming out, they would call up Aiden Ross, Kai Cenat, and Plaque Max. This trend has continued all the way up until today, with some rappers not even really doing any major media besides streaming. From smaller rappers like Osama Sun early in his career, all the way up to Drake and Nicki Minaj. Even Will Smith appeared on a live stream to promote his music. And this really was insane. Like, I feel like this isn't talked about enough. Will Smith is one of the most famous people on earth, legitimately. And he showed up to a Plaque Max stream. This method has been used so much that at this point, it's not even really a big deal for a rapper to pop up on the stream. And now the returns have kind of diminished. Now we're starting to see rappers who have fallen off or are having a hard time promoting their music think that all they have to do is get with the streamer and it'll revive their career, but that's just not the case. What's good, YouTube? It's Justice I Used to Be Paying. Today I'm back with another video. And in this video, I'm going to be telling you why these streamers can't save you. But before I get into that, make sure you leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Do all those things. It helps me out a ton. Also, hit the hype thing. That's like a new thing on YouTube here. Recently, we've seen a rise in prominence of 6ix9ine on the internet. And this is due to his viral interview with Vlad TV. And to follow up this extremely viral interview, he's been going on pretty much every stream he possibly can. He's been on stream with Aiden Ross, Neon, Jack Doherty, Deshae Frost, pretty much anybody that is a big streamer in Miami or anybody willing to come to Miami to stream has done a stream with 6ix9ine at this point. He's had a ton of viral clips now, and everyone's clipping up these streams and these moments where he's arguing or he's yelling and he's talking facts. Let me take my glasses off. Can I put my glasses back on? Like,
I walk shit down.
Say one good thing about Lil Durk.
He's in jail.
Okay, did you and Diddy have conversations?
Yeah, we spoke. I said, yo, why you never invited me to none of your parties?
To any
That's what I
freak
said
offs?
to him. Huh?
Did you get invited to any freak offs?
Yeah, I'm like, yo, why you inviting me? I'm gonna do a quick tribute, a 360 to Kobe. Nigga, I gotta do the helicopter spin real quick.
Oh, whoa.
This is what Mexicans do for Jewish people all the time. Literally. This is literally America right here. And I'm fucking Ice Spice in the butt, straight up.
In the butt.
In the butt, straight up.
Okay,
Cause
so
she be losing way too much. It's like, yo, like, it's just crazy. Like,
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
the winner had to take a shower. If I ever get to stream with Lotto, Ice Spice, and Ruby Rose, I won't even waste you guys. You know how they be up here thinking they streamers and people care about their music? I'll make them turn around and twerk off rip.
but you stole it.
Stole that shit. That's what I do, nigga. Fuck, nigga, I stole that shit.
What's the craziest thing you've ever done?
Probably ratted.
he has become an internet darling recently, which is really kind of crazy because at the start of the year in 2025, he was kind of irrelevant online. Like, people weren't talking about 6ix9ine. And so now at the end of the year, for him to be one of the most talked about figures on the internet is kind of crazy. It's actually very impressive. Yet one thing that hasn't happened for 6ix9ine in this newfound internet fame that's kind of like a rebirth is fans clamoring for new music. Nobody's really asking for new music from 6ix9ine. Now, in the American rap scene, 6ix9ine's been pretty much irrelevant since 2020, and he did actually have a very prolific Spanish music run just a few years ago or something like that. But even though he's found this newfound fame, it doesn't feel like people are asking for new 6ix9ine music. They might be talking about how good his music was in 2018 or 2017, but nobody's sitting there like, man, I can't wait for this new 6ix9ine album. Now, he has dropped a song titled Facts, and he put out a music video for it. And the music video actually did very good numbers on YouTube. It did like 5 million views in a month, but that's not actually too out of the ordinary for 6ix9ine. He does very big numbers on YouTube. He's been one of those artists where he just kind of runs YouTube, and then like the streaming numbers don't always match, or the charting numbers don't always match. He's kind of like NBA YoungBoy in that sense, where he just does really, really well on YouTube. But that is a boost. I'm not gonna act like, you know, it's nothing. It's not like he hasn't gained anything in terms of his streams or his numbers from this newfound fame on the internet, but that's not really the main takeaway when it comes to 6ix9ine and this rise in relevancy once again. The main takeaway from commenters and chatters all over the internet is 6ix9ine needs to be a streamer. 6ix9ine needs to start his own stream. 6ix9ine needs to start his own podcast. Like, the main takeaway from this new run for 6ix9ine isn't, oh my gosh, I can't wait to hear his new music. It's, he needs to be doing this on his own. He needs his own Twitch channel. With the power of streaming, you would expect some of 6ix9ine's songs to maybe re-enter the charts, especially when he's interacting with communities like Aiden Ross's or Neon's, where they have crazy diehard fans. You'd expect some of his songs to maybe re-enter the Billboard charts, or maybe one of his albums, or just see a crazy spike in his numbers. But that's not really the case here, and it's because the streaming world really is its own world. The Aiden Ross, Kai Cenat, Bruce world has so much clout and so much weight, but it's no longer new anymore. It's no longer this exciting new thing where these crazy internet socialites have so much clout and, you know, they're more lit than rappers, and oh my gosh, I can't believe this. What's going on here? Everyone's super interested in it. Now these rappers are getting into it. It's just blowing up. It's booming everywhere. It's not that anymore. Now, obviously, the space is still extremely popular. It's still extremely clouded, but it's no longer new. It's no longer something where rappers can just jump on it, and just showing their face was enough. It was kind of like, you know, a few years ago, just being in front of iShowSpeed's audience or just being in front of Kai Cenat's audience was enough in itself to get you to have a boost in your numbers. It was enough in itself to make you more popular, but that's not the case anymore. I kind of compare it to like buying Bitcoin now. Like, yes, if you get on a rapper's stream, you can still benefit from it. Don't get me wrong. But if you would have been on their stream 7 years ago, which obviously I'm talking about like in comparison to Bitcoin, like if you would have bought Bitcoin in 2012, you would have saw crazy returns for it versus buying it in 2025. Plus, the space is kind of oversaturated now, and just being a rapper showing up on a stream doesn't really mean that much anymore. When Young Thug came home from jail, he was one of the most popular names on the internet. Now, mind you, it wasn't for anything really positive, but still, he had a huge viral podcast / interview that was everywhere, and he did a stream with Aiden Ross shortly after the release of UI Scooty. And that is one of the worst selling albums that Young Thug has dropped in a very long time. Now, you can say, oh, well, you know, the UI Scooty stream with Aiden Ross came just a few days after the release, so, you know, the first week numbers weren't really affected by the stream. You gotta wait because the stream is gonna turn the album up in the second week. Well, the album went from the 6th album in the world in the first week to 27 in the second week. So the stream really had no effect on Young Thug's numbers. The album didn't sell well. The stream couldn't save him. Lil Uzi Vert, he did a stream with Kai Cenat the night that he dropped Eternal Will Take Two. It was this huge thing. They were performing. They were doing a whole bunch of crazy stuff. And Eternal Will Take Two is the worst selling Uzi album in like a decade. It didn't even crack 75K. Fabio Foreign has constantly been intertwined with Plaque Max because of like beefs and weird incidents and streams and just, I don't know, they just have this very strange relationship, but that hasn't really helped Fabio out in terms of picking his music career back up in the sense of making him more relevant. And the same thing can be said with Lil TJ, where he's on stream with Plaque Max and he's beefing with him, and now he's trying to beef with Kai Cenat, and they're going, well, not really going back and forth, really just going forth because Kai Cenat's not responding, but still, he's trying to get himself involved in this streaming world and having incidents with these guys, and it's not really doing anything for his numbers. He's the most relevant that these guys are, specifically speaking on TJ and Fabio Foreign, is when they end up in a beef with Plaque Max or when they end up in a beef with Kai Cenat. And speaking on Kai Cenat and Fabio Foreign, I will say that whole thing of him being upset of not being invited to the Mafia-thon is hilarious. That clip where he's like, and Kai Cenat ain't invite me to the Mafia-thon. I put on for the city. What type of time is he on? What's T? Like, I don't know. That was crazy. Like a 35-year-old man begging to be on stream. It's kind of crazy, but you get what I'm saying here. It's like these rappers whose whole persona and aura is supposed to be based off them being cool. Rappers are supposed to be cool. They're supposed to be, you know, the cool guys that are better than everyone. That's like, oh man, that guy, man, he's different. And you're begging to be on Mafia-thon. Like, you see how crazy that kind of looks for these rappers, that level of desperation to be on stream, when in reality, that's not going to be the determining factor as to you blowing up or your song blowing up or it not. I'm not saying that streamers can't help a rapper's career, it can't boost their numbers or anything of the sort, because we've seen it on multiple occasions. LazerDim's entire career was born from Plaque Max and his community, so of course they can help you. All I'm saying is this level of like almost desperation that we sometimes see from rappers when they're trying to get on these streams is misplaced importance. Appearing on Mafia-thon when you have an album coming up is not gonna save you, brother. It's not. And this is going to be the most obvious thing I've ever said in my life. It's going to sound goofy that I even need to say this, but I think it's important. I think we need to reiterate it. You need good music. You need good music. Showing up on stream is not gonna automatically get you out of there and blow your music up. Yeah, you might get more clout, you might be more important on the internet and have people talking about you and saying your name, but it's not gonna necessarily boost your music career. Look at Iggy Azalea. Iggy Azalea has become a reoccurring character in Neon streams, and Neon is one of the most poppin', most clouded streamers on the internet. Her clips with Neon are some of Neon's biggest clips. She's always getting clipped with Neon. Their streams are some of Neon's biggest streams when they pop out together, and they do these things and kind of farm the like parasocial fans, but still, you haven't seen Iggy Azalea's streaming numbers go up in terms of her music. You haven't seen people going crazy and going back and re-entering her music into the charts. You haven't seen a whole bunch of people now becoming Iggy Azalea's, music fans nowadays. That's not happening. And, I'm not saying that to like bash Iggy, because I don't even think she really wants to do music like that anymore, or isn't really interested in doing music anymore. But my point is, just being on a rapper stream is not going to boost your music career. That's not going to make a huge difference if you don't have quality to back it. Iggy Azalea, again, is one of the biggest reoccurring characters in a Neon stream. Her name plus Neon's name is millions of views on Twitter with the clip. But it hasn't changed her musical numbers whatsoever. Has it made Iggy popular again? Absolutely. She is way more popular online now than she was last year or 2 years ago when she wasn't doing these streams with Neon, but she's popular and clouded in the streaming world because it's its own world now. It's its own bubble. It doesn't need to rely on hip hop rap fans constantly. No, she is popular in the streaming world, and she's definitely not popular in the music world. That's why when people talk about rappers streaming and how every rapper should just be streaming now, I don't always really agree fully. We've seen rappers like Soulja Boy and Ice Spice take up streaming, and I don't really mind it, but this kind of movement from like the music industry to just take a rapper and just throw them on stream and think that's gonna save their career, just throw them on Twitch and think that that's just gonna be this huge thing for them. I don't really like that, and low-key I think it's a bit disrespectful to the streamers, to the people who really put in work on that streaming stuff. Like it's just some easy thing where you just put a rapper in front of the screen and all of a sudden now they're gonna be popular and their music's gonna be everywhere. I actually think that Blueface kind of had a good take on it when he talked about rappers and streaming.
The longer I'm on here, the more lame shit I'm gonna indulge in. And then after a while, it's gonna be like, man, it's not, what's up with the rapper, Yeah. They hold you up to a certain standard as a rapper, and you gotta hold yourself to that, Of course I could jump on here and make tons of money, but it's for example, this is kind of like popcorn-ish, Put it in the microwave.
Streaming's not gonna go away or kind of like be unpopular like Blueface is hinting at, but I do think that there's not too many rappers that can successfully stream and be a rapper at the same time, and it's just because it's a conflict of interest. When you're a rapper, you're a character. You're somebody who's supposed to have aura, somebody who's supposed to be cool, somebody who's supposed to be kind of mysterious, not in the sense of like people don't ever see you, but people kind of fill in the blanks on your personality from your music and the few interviews you do every now and then. Because if you do too much, you kind of break the perception. And for a streamer, that's the entire thing. Is just supposed to be like, we're relatable, we're one-to-one, you love me, I love you, we're like this, everything about me, you're personally invested in me as a person. And for a rapper to have those two things, that's not always the best combination, especially because most of these rappers are really boring. They're not very interesting characters. They just kind of get on stream and they sit there and they're not sure if they want to be cool and they're not sure if they want to be corny. So they just kind of sit there. It's a little awkward. You see them with Blackboy Max and Max is making jokes and they're just kind of looking at him like, they don't really know how to interact with the streaming world. Streaming is a huge space, but it's no longer the gold mine that it was a few years ago where, man, you got in early and you reaped a ton of benefits. That's just not really the case anymore. Just hopping in front of a streamer's audience, no matter how clouded they are, is not the career saver that it once was, or not the career regenerator that it might have been a few years ago. Especially because a lot of these rappers were messing with these streamers while they were still on the come up. So the streaming community really messed with the rapper because they were validating that streamer. Streaming with Aiden Ross in 2021 was validating Aiden Ross and his community. So they were likely to show you a lot of love. And that's just not the case anymore. These dudes are established, man. You showing up on an Aiden Ross stream or a Neon stream, you're just another rapper amongst the 500 who have asked to do so in the last month. But if you made it to the end of this video, I greatly, greatly appreciate it. Let me know if you agree, if you disagree down below in the comments. Leave a like, comment, subscribe, do all those things. It helps me out a ton. Make sure you hit the hype. I go by the name of Pay. Have a good day. Be safe. Be blessed. Peace.